Hi, welcome back to The Living Process. My name is Greg Madison, and this time we have a follow-up episode with Dana and Baruch, who offer a very fascinating cross-fertilization of the Kabbalistic wisdom tradition and Gene Gendlin's process model. It felt like we got into some very deep territory, and I appreciated it very much. You will notice that at the beginning of the recording, there is a alarm, and Dana had to run to the shelter, so we had to pause the recording and then start again. But I left that in just to give some sense of what their daily life is like at the moment. We talk a little bit about our different emphases. They come from a perspective that uses more structure and conceptualizing to point at what is more than that, I think is my way of saying it at least. It talks about how focusing sometimes is kept within a fairly narrow kind of remit, but that there is something missing by doing that, and that there's something much deeper that focusing points to that is very difficult to put into words or to understand, but it is possible to feel it. I hope you enjoy the episode. I certainly did. If you have any interest in their work, I encourage you to check out their website and just see what other courses are coming up. Um, yeah, it's a special experience to work with them and to be in dialogue with them. So welcome back. And it's finally spring. How was the last course that you've just completed?
You know, there's something about it's the first time we taught it that in that way. I mean, we teach here different aspects. I mean, but pull it together in one course as one in the English also, which it was the first time. And there's something about first courses that I always find very interesting because from one side, it's like starting to be cooked. It's like like something like that. On the other side, it creates something that would never happen if this one wouldn't exist because it's more sometimes more wild. It's I don't know. There's something about it that it's more experiential, uh, sensing what works, what doesn't work. So.
Mhm.
Uh, and I see that we have the feedback of the people, and which I find very interesting. Some people that have a long practice in focusing, some are even teaching focusing.
Mhm.
That they report that all of a sudden, like it makes so much more sense.
Mhm. Mhm. It's interesting.
Like there was implying there implying in the focusing movement that at least there are different paths, but at least this path uh, helps to carry it forward, and the people that are drawn to it sense it.
Mhm.
Yes, I will add, but 1 second, I want to open the light. Okay. Uh, I feel it more than a course. A course, I feel it like a journey. What I mean a journey? I mean that more and more we see that people who decided to come or something calls them to come to this field. Let's call it a field.
Mhm.
Uh, they're asking for something that it's they are ready and they are looking for something that it's even more than what we could imagine, because it's like something happens. They don't. It's not for them. It's not a question now to know more about how to make call it the step of focusing or movement of focusing. I think what they are looking for, and this what I think we met, that they're looking for a different another or different context.
Mhm.
It's not a question. They have their way. Most of them they have their way to how to focus, how to make this process, but they sense that something is missing, and this is was for me more and more. I we meet people that this is what we sense. They sense that they have the opportunity to go farther because they have already they trained themselves or in the focusing world or in therapy. It doesn't matter. Each of them uh, came from a different field, but it's common to all of them that they sense that they're already what they already experience in their life, and mainly if they met the focusing field, it has through it they sense that there is opportunity to go farther, and this is something that for me is something very is very precious to sense it or to acknowledge it. So even this, let's call this the first meeting that we have, these 10 meetings that we have with people, is the beginning. It is a beginning of, and we see, and now there is another group that we are going to open in 2 weeks, and very, very, every person that we are now, we have the opportunity to meet. It is amazing because it's like he's coming with something so, with all his wisdom, and experience, and yet he's looking for the next step.
Yeah.
You heard the alarm. So I need it's not yet, anyway, it doesn't matter. Just be ready. So I'm going downstairs to be ready. It takes about 10 minutes and then I'll come back.
Okay.
Okay, I'm jumping all the time because it's like out of context.
Okay.
I'll come back, I hope so.
I have to check that we don't have an alarm.
Okay, so we'll come back soon.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Should we go on or should we wait?
We can speak now.
Okay. So
Yeah.
the thing that I wanted to say is I can imagine that the people that are coming to your course, they're looking for something. Even if they're experienced focusers, it's something that focusing hasn't pointed them towards or given them yet.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what that is exactly. I mean, it could be in some way each individual is looking for something slightly different, but there may be something general you can say about the missing that people might find through your process.
Because it's a good question, maybe we will wait to Dana. No, it's the one. It's the right question. It's
Yeah.
the right question to open, and I don't want that she will miss.
Do you want to just pause it and come back?
Let's pause for the time that she is there, went to the shelter. Okay.
Okay, so we're back.
Yeah.
The question, Baruch was talking about people coming because they're missing something in some way, even if they're experienced focusers, that the focusing practice, sort of maybe I could say the usual focusing practice, is still missing something that they're looking for. And I was asking what actually is missing? What is it that they're looking for? And I don't mean sort of as individuals, because I could imagine it could be slightly different for each person, but sort of generally, what is that?
Yeah. I think it's very important question, and I will explain why. Because this question, it is like you said, it is a question about something that connects to the process that we understand what it means to be a human. They don't come because they have a unique problem in their life and they look for ways to resolve it. I can say they concern with the sense that there is another layer or another process of our humanity, or a different kind of understanding of our humanity, that we arrive in the history to the place, maybe, or each of them arrive in his own process of journey of life, that they must to open it. For example, I will say, it's okay that I will, let's even try to do it. If I will ask you to, uh, uh, maybe it's a strange question, from where you start, yourself. If you sense yourself from where, what is the beginning
In
that you can
this moment, you mean?
in this moment, or if you can, yes, in this moment.
When you ask me where I start, I take that to mean where am I living from? That there's a place in me where the aliveness is being generated.
Wonderful. Okay, so if in many ways, now you turn toward this movement or mystery that your life generates from there. Most of the people, I think, when they are alone, or they are in the loop of their inner talking, or if they are like they do nothing, they are only, I can say, talk to themselves. If they pause and start to think about something, they start from their thoughts. Sometimes there are people through certain technique they can say, I'm starting from awareness. I'm aware of. Even there are people who train themselves to be in this state that I am aware of. If you go deeper, you can sense that your life, starting from this place that you cannot explain, and many times even you cannot contain, because you don't have not understanding, you don't have terms, and you don't have a practice through, and you don't have guidance through which the core of life emanates itself or opens. It opens itself, and you sense that your life, they start to be open from here. I can say from the five dots that Gendlin says. Many people, they don't know how to be there. And if they are there, they don't have the reverence. They sense that it's their own thoughts, and they feel unsatisfied to sense that they start from their own thought. People don't want to start from their own thoughts. They feel that something is missing if if something is missing, if they sense that they start from even the field of silence. It's not sufficient for them. They are looking for a way to sense their life that it starts like from something that 1 second. Let's name it now. You can name it as you wish. Again, you can open. I will say something about the 5 dots of Gendlin, or you can even say the divine. But it's very important that you will have experience and deep understanding what it means from the divine. The word divine can be a public word. People look for it because they sense that they never something they don't know their own life. They cultivate their thought, they cultivate their psyche, they cultivate their awareness, they cultivate their ability to pause, to sense, even to have a kind of a felt sense, but it's still their own felt sense, and they feel it that something is missing because, I like very much the term that Dana says many times. They have the habitual felt sense. It's a kind of habitual felt sense. They don't have it's very unique place to they don't know how to open their own life from there, because this is who we are. And I think this is something that many people feel that they are looking for. They don't satisfied with all the other layers. After you can see, then when you know how to open your life from there, you feel humbleness, you feel awe, you feel the mystery, but not as the mystery as in a public language. It's really who you are. It's not about spirituality. It's really who you are. Then you can see that from there, and this is something, I think it's something very important to understand, even to understand Gendlin ideas. Then you can acknowledge that your life, that when you are, let's say, when you are focusing, it's not about carrying life forward, but it's something much more deep. It is to arrive to the place that it's about being the carry forward of life, that you sense that you are the carrying forward of life. It's not about how I will carry forward the situation. It's to arrive to acknowledgement, the ability to live my life that I sense, I acknowledge that what I name as I, it means the being that carrying forward life.
Can I just say that back, because
Yeah.
that sounds fundamental. That rather than carrying forward being the shifting felt sense of a situation, what you're wanting people to tune into, however you say that, is that the carrying forward is who they are.
Yes. They have to arrive in every situation, in everything that they are dealing with,
Hmm.
to arrive that they sense that the movement that they name as the movement of my life or as it is, the truth is that it is a movement that you are the carrying forward of life. You are not starting from your, like Greg and I as a Baruch. No, Baruch is only one of the layer that people can name, and I can identify part of myself. But in fact, we are the carrying forward of life. And again, I don't want even to say life, because for me, when I say life, I felt the reverence and the awe. And this is for me part of the meaning that I acknowledge in my life of the divine. Because I want to say, because it's something very important. It's not a question to say the word divine. This is not about, the main question is what you understand when you say, what you are doing, what you acknowledge when you say the divine in my life, in the divine, connect to the relation with the divine and what let's call my life. It's only a way to say it, because people sense that we don't have our life. It's only a term. It's a kind of metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
We are processes that start from the living process, but really we have to, and I will say it again, the most important thing is not to understand it, but to know how to process it in first body experience.
Mm.
It is not a knowledge about humanity. It's ability that I think people today, wow, I can cry. They are thirsty for it because they sense they have everything. It's so close, but they don't have not the language and not the let's call it practice or movements.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for sure the Kabbalistic wisdom and also Gendlin, they were concerned about this movement to help humanity to grow, to have this to arrive to this acknowledgement and to this ability.
Mm-hmm. I would like to ask a question before I say anything from my side. I'm trying to get a picture of, first of all, just to confess, what you've been saying resonates with me. It doesn't sound bizarre. It doesn't sound, in fact, to me, it sounds like where focusing should bring us, but often doesn't, because focusing often stays at the interpersonal or the psychological or the situational, which is also useful, but that's different.
Yeah.
But the question is, if a person can live as this carrying forward process and experientially feel that that is what they are, there is no other self. There is no observer point of view. There is this coming from inside in every moment of living. If a person lived that way, what would be the difference?
Yeah.
Because I think there is one, but
No,
Until your answer, I'll just say the image that popped to my head when you said it, and then Baruch, you can think of. But I thought, what is the difference between a plant that has an artificial light and for some time a day the farmer take it out and it can have the rays of shine light, and something happen, and then again he has the artificial light, and the plant that, and I don't know if all the time, but could be with interaction with the sunlight and not artificial light. This is just the image that popped to my mind.
I will say four things, and maybe it connects to Dana what you said now. First of all, what are the differences? First of all, from outside, probably you will see the world with people. They speak to each other. You probably will see the same, but I think the differences are there is an opportunity, and even maybe I don't even want to have the temptation yet to think about the world as already made this flip that everyone will live in this way. I don't want to exaggerate yet, because I'm sure that the world will surprise us. But I think even when someone succeeds once a day or in part of his life, to live through this model, there is a big change. Why? First of all, it means that you process you process a moment through a different model. When you arrive for example, now you ask me a question. In the regular world, probably now I will react. Because of your question, I started to think, so there is like a kind of reaction. If I will pause, okay? And for a moment, we go to another model, to the different kind of model, and I will allow the process that comes from the ... A process that will carry forward something new. Then, now even now you can see something becomes more slow. I sense a lot now that I have to create words that they will carry it forward. So it will, it's like it's a different kind of world. It's a world that you don't, instead to react, or different kind of process, instead to react, you create. You allow this moment, I can allow this moment to open a process of creation, to create something new that comes from the pre-concept, the unknown, and again, I want to say the divine.
And maybe just I will add that I think the name of what we call the course, the holy commitment to the unknown. Okay, because it's not our natural instinct to do this pause and be part in the creationing, as Baruch calls it. So there is some kind of a commitment that is slowly becoming stronger and stronger. But it doesn't become stronger and stronger by itself. It needs a lot of support.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what the thing that people are missing. This kind of support that will help them sustain it and understand it. Because if you do not really understand the process and its deepest meaning, it cannot sustain. You won't have the holy commitment because you won't really know for what exactly. You can say the words, but you cannot really fully understand them. And I feel that Gendlin, in a process model, that's what he wanted to suggest. He wanted to suggest something very coherent, yes, that you can follow and you can live inside it or with it or take it forward, but it will be a kind of support because it's very consistent in changing our concepts that comes from the unit model to different kind of concepts. So it's like a very, it's a supportive building. I don't know exactly, Baruch sometimes call it language, that can help you slowly live into this opportunity that you mentioned in chapter 8. And
Yes.
and just one more thing, that it's not directly connected, but it's something that I spoke with Baruch before. That even people, when I'm reading a process model, and I'm a learner. I just want to say that I'm not suggesting that I reach a point from which I'm in this journey as well, all the time exploring and listening to the wisdom that comes my path and shows me another step. But people can read a process model, but there isn't a tradition of reading like in the I don't know, in the esoteric communities, that there is a tradition how to read a secretive a text that has a hidden esoteric or hidden layer. There's need a tradition that someone can point to you. Here, he wrote here something like that, but when you discuss it and say it, you are looking at it from a different kind of understanding, from a unit model understanding, or from you're not aware that you have those hidden rooted assumptions, that although something wants to show you something different, you don't see it, you don't grasp it. Someone needs to point to you. It's like really a tradition that shows you that you're falling all the time, and you should be how do you say, humble, or that it happens to you all the time. You are blind in the beginning. You don't see what it's a process of really growth.
Yeah. Yes. And if you do it, and I agree that it can open, really, through it, you can open your sensitivity, your eyes, not to fall to the regular model, then really we become human. This is because I want to say, to come back to the example that you asked me a question, so the pattern is that I answer to you. And when I pause and I started to sense, first of all, I sense my heart opens. I felt that my heart open. And then I sense the opportunity that now we are the three us together is not a question for me, it's a question for the creation. Through your experience, Dana experience, my experience. So it opens a different field. And even this, I think even we can sense now that this moment has a different quality, because the quality of this moment is a quality of, I know that it doesn't exist in English. You sense creationing, the mystery of creationing. And this is when I sense it, I sense holiness. And again, I want to say, I use the words holiness, humbleness, divine, but all these words, the most important question is not to use them, but what you perceive about them.
Mhm.
Because it's not better not to use them. But if we open, it's even a way to open, to really to connect our life to this, all this, all to the dot that all these words point to.
Mhm.
We said a lot. What comes in you now?
Most of what you have said, I feel like I know the experience you're talking about. Some of it I would describe differently, but I think it's this, we're pointing at the same thing. Um, and that was a good point, I think, Dana, when you said about the commitment to it. Um, because it does require, I would have used the word intention, but it's not quite strong enough. Commitment is better because it does require a commitment. But interestingly, as I was listening to you, I was thinking, listening to both of you, I was thinking the commitment and the experience of what we're talking about, the experience of being or aliveness or creationing, whatever you want to call it, um, the two grow together. The commitment and the development of that in me, they grow together in my experience. The more committed I am, the more it's there for me in an obvious way. The more it's there for me, the more committed I want to be to it. There's something about that living that generates a commitment to it. And so they kind of grow with each other. But the other thing that I was thinking is there's a point at which that's quite fragile, and the rest of the world easily comes in and pushes it away temporarily out of experience or awareness or something. There needs to be some kind of ability to protect it. And that, in my experience, it is difficult to protect it while at the same time going through ordinary daily life where there are so many demands that make it difficult to live from this place. But it isn't impossible, I don't think. And I think sometimes it's quite obvious. You could meet a person who very much is living from there, and there's something different about their way of being. You know, you experience them differently. You experience yourself differently in relationship to them, even though you don't probably know why. Um, yeah, those are the first things I would say.
I want to ask you something about it
Mhm.
because you said two things. I want to check that I understood.
Mhm.
One of them is you said about that there is a relationship between your experience and your commitment.
Mhm.
This is one thing, and then you spoke about how to protect it.
Mhm.
Yes, there are two things. And I want first of all to relate to the first thing that you said. What support you in this? What even nourish you in this movement between experience and commitment?
Mhm.
Because I can say in my life, I need something that will nourish me there.
Mhm.
It's not it's not only that I I understand you, but I need something that will expand my understanding of this place. And the question I want to ask you if there is something, or you feel the need, or you don't even, or you don't feel the need, or
That's a good point. The first thing I would say is when I hear that come back, it could be that the relationship between the commitment and the experience is the protection. I don't know if it needs some other kind of protection or not. I think it does, but maybe I'm wrong. Um, and I would have to think more clearly about instances in my life where I could maybe discern that better. Um, but for me, the commitment and the experiencing is nourished or held, I would say even treated seriously or something. It has a serious. I mean, when I say a seriousness, it's not that it's always serious. I know I'm living from that place when I say things that really surprise me. It's like it just comes. There
Yeah.
isn't some definition of myself that it comes from or that prevents it from coming. It's like it's free to come. So it has a spontaneity, but there's a degree of me. This is how I would say it. It's me taking my life seriously. It's me having a sense that if there's anything important in a human life, it's obviously this.
You can say the last sentence again because it has a strong resonance.
Yeah. If there's anything important in a human life, it's obviously this.
Yes. Yes.
And you know what, not what, when you're saying it, it connects to me to the question of the thing that is missing sometimes for people that you ask.
Mhm.
I think, where is their attention or consciousness or directness is directed to? And many times it's not directed to this, to what is so important in human life.
Yeah.
And they don't know it. They don't know that, because they don't know, they feel that something is missing and they direct it to something that me included, I don't want to and direct it to something that they believe it helps them in this longing or in this sense of something missing. But if someone from a side look at them, they can see that they're like full gas in neutral, because they're not directing to what is the most important, because nobody shows them or told them, or they didn't understand it from the inside. I think it's more rare.
Yeah.
Where their attention needs to go in order to them to feel more alive.
Yeah.
Really, I want to pause for 5 seconds even because I feel that you share something that is, you say it from a deep place and very precious place. I want to add something, that this is part of the way that I understand Gendlin. The that in his writing, I will say I will say it maybe again in two ways. I will speak about Gendlin, after maybe I will say something about the Kabbalistic wisdom. Uh, I think in his writing, and when I speak about his writing, mainly in the process, in fact, the process is not a book of philosophy. It is a book that want to support the how you can transform your understanding of what it means to be a human through, and how we support it through new a different kind of knowledge, and through uh, different kinds of a different kind of terms, because I think that the process, it is a practical book. It's not a philosophical book, because you step by step, he wants that you will untie your perception about the way that you think you are. He untie concepts that are not exist. They doesn't exist. Uh, and it is when you know them, you start to work with them. It's not that you start to understand who you are. For example, you can start to work as interaction first. You start to work as self without content. You start to be sensitive to environment zero. We can mention many things, but this is I want to say it's like esoteric in a way. It's like this book, you have to work with it like an esoterical books as Dana described before. So this is one way to support it for me. Another way to support, I think, when you untie your ideas, you untie your consciousness, you know how to work through the process model, then what support me, the I don't want to say the step of the focusing process, but I want to say the movement of the focusing process. Why? Because I think, and this is part of the thing that we teach, the movement of focusing, they are the movement through which, instead to react as Baruch or as I, and still maybe something wider, something that is connected to unknown, but still I hold the idea of Baruch. Through these steps, I can start to carry forward the ... I can put myself aside. I can really carry forward to be the carrying forward of life. And this is, I think, something that I feel like it's for people who already met the focusing processes, they know how to work with it. This is something that many times they are looking for because they are so close, but they are still, like you said before, they use it like a practice how to carry forward situations, psychological problem, etc., etc. Wonderful. But when you read the process model, you understand that these movements, in the depth of them, they are the way to have this commitment, to open yourself to this deep understanding of life, or as you said, this is the reason, or this is the depth of life.
I'm wondering if you want to say anything, Dana.
I'll say what comes to me, but maybe it's not something maybe it's something that should be deleted afterwards. Because I have the feeling, and I felt it now. It's not that I'm carrying it with me all the time. It sometimes comes, and I felt now that something in the focusing movement is the image that came now, that it's becomes dusted, but sometimes I feel that it diminishes. Something in the focusing movement loses its intensity and deep potential, or I feel that it needs to go to another level, or it won't do what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to go to another level of thinking, of concepts, of demanding from people more. If they want to commit to this Gendlin's project, it needs to change, because if not, I feel it loses power. It loses, it's like, okay, make wonderful things, but also going to nature makes wonderful things, and also dancing until all the night makes wonderful things. And so I'm doing all these wonderful things, and I commit to the unknown. I can focus, or I can do another technique, or I can just sit near the fire. I mean, so many experiences we have. So if we want focusing to do what it could do or what it meant to do, something needs to change in it. It needs to grow itself. It needs to grow to a new level.
Mm-hmm. I have a response to that. I agree with you, and I'm just thinking most people in the focusing world are very, very bad at marketing, maybe with a few exceptions. And I suspect some of the diminishment of focusing has come about in an attempt to market it as something useful. And uh, I think a lot of people want to learn focusing to heal something in their lives or to optimize something in their life. It's like their sense of self, their identity, they totally intend to keep that in place. Focusing isn't necessarily supposed to touch that. That's supposed to be the given within which focusing happens. And I think what both of you are pointing out, and I totally agree with, and this is what we try to teach, but it is incredibly difficult to teach while not giving anyone anything to hold on to, which is the way we do it with some success and lots of not success. But I think focusing, this is the way I would say it, which is not nearly as elegant as the way that both of you say it, is that it actually, for me, my deepest states of living, I could maybe say, have come about through focusing in this way. And it has almost always been focusing on my own, rarely with a partner. I mean, I focus with a partner constantly, but those tend to be more life issues. The deepest practice for me is very much self-focusing, where it is a practice of deconstruction of the self, where I am slowly questioning. It is a very skeptical, open, gentle, phenomenological kind of process where I am slowly questioning, like, what is this? What is this? And it takes me deeper and deeper to a place that becomes more and more important and precious, and less the me that I started out from. But it ends up being a version of living that, like we were saying before, I do develop a deep commitment to, because regardless of how odd I may seem, because I might speak slightly differently or whatever, or pause in the middle of a sentence, or not care if somebody wins an argument against me or whatever, it just feels like something has come alive in me. It's like a light has been turned on. But the one thing that I would say is that light that has been turned on isn't a felt sense. It's, the felt sensing shifts and changes all the time, depending on what's happening or where I am or how I am or whatever. But there's something in the felt sense that is the living. It's almost as though what is directing the felt sense is what I'm in touch with, more than just the felt sense.
Please say again the last sentence because it's so precious.
What is directing the felt sense
Yeah.
I'm in touch with.
This is something so important, so important. And you cannot, you really, it is like in order to be there, you need really to know, and I know you have really to know the awe. You have really to know the reverence. Nothing to do. You must know it. You must know it because it touches the most intimate place of ourselves, that there we are not anymore what we perceive as ourselves, and we don't go to fantasies.
Mhm.
It is to arrive to know how to go through it. It is a holy process. And in order to know this holy process, in order to understand it, my child want to be part of this discussion.
Yes.
To touch this place, and I want to come back, it is a holy, I can say now, even let's see, uh, uh, for example, now, my child, he wants to sit near me. He doesn't want to sit near me. He looks for something. He looks for something so subtle. He doesn't know I can be sensitive to it or, okay. To touch this place, we miss this place so much. But in order really to growth to this ability, I think nothing to do. We need the ancient knowledge. We need it. We need it because if no, we will continue only to understand this place only through our own perception. You must to go beyond this your own perception. You have like to touch to ancient knowledge many times, and I speak about it. I speak only about the Kabbalistic knowledge because this is what we are teaching. They give, they created terms. The through it, I can be there, not only to my perspective, not with fantasies or something that you sense that you can use words, but you don't know them. But they support this process. They allow you to go through this process. This is one thing. And we need the knowledge, we need the guidance, nothing to do. I know that I know that many things they came from my soul, but this is a play. I want to say, we know that you cannot touch this place, you cannot describe this place. But thank God we have ancient knowledge that can support us, and we have the wisdom. Is not the steps of focusing, it is the wisdom of focusing. That if you know the context, you can use them in a wider place, a wider understanding. Yes, it can support to touch this subtle movement, and then you have to choose in every situation in life, because of course life is not life. I want to sit here in silence and my side. Life is life, but the only thing that you have to choose how you will be in this situation, because you are in this situation. No one else can be there. You are there. So I not that I have to protect myself there. I have to bring something that other people cannot bring there. Step by step, it starts to be a holy commitment in every situation. Nothing to do. I am there. I cannot complain. I can try to carry forward as much as I can.
Interesting. I'm glad you said that because it allows me to pinpoint something that's very different for me. For me, it's more that when I'm in touch with that in myself, I can then read ancient texts, I could read psychology, I can read poetry, and any of it can touch this in me. And then I stop the reading and I become interested in the this. What is it responding to? What is coming alive? Where does that take me if I follow it through? And I learn something with that as a teacher in a way. It teaches me. I have a concern about any tradition and any theory, any text, including Gendlin. A process model for me isn't as profound as it is for you. I read it twice and I haven't read it recently. The way you're talking about it makes me want to read it again. But
But now, Greg, if I can interrupt quickly, read it as you read poetry.
yes,
Every time you feel something touches you, this process.
well, I think I did read it that way, one of the readings, and the other one was more psychological or philosophical. And there were definitely points that did that for me. There's no question. But my concern is any practice can get in the way, and any text can get in the way. And I think as humans, we have a tendency to credit the text or the steps with what we find through them. And the steps then become the technique, and it becomes, I know you're not doing this, but it can become quite easily sedimented as something that then it loses everything it could have offered,
Yeah.
except the smaller version of what it offers. Focusing can do that if we make it into a technique. But I also have that same concern with any text. If I read any text, there's some of it that I can, almost anything I read, and often things that I think, oh no, I reject this. And I start reading it, and something in me goes, well, I don't reject it. And then I have to stop and take seriously something that's coming to me from it. And I do get a sense, oh my God, these people really knew it. These people were directly in touch with this thing that I value. And I feel like there could be like an alternative human history of those who were directly in touch with it. That would be such a different human history. Uh-oh. Than the history of traditions, where there are so many people saying the words but have never actually been in touch with what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Did your alarm just go?
No, it was like a noise. You became so sensitive. Good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
That's what happens to us. We're jumping to every noise.
Dana, I don't know if you say it in absolute way, but I want a little to argue with you, okay, Dana? I don't think uh, I don't think it's a question to read again the process model. You can read it again. This is not a question. No, I think, and it's not that I completely understand the way that we read it, but I think there is a unique cross. It's not, maybe I have to say, there is a unique crossing between the Kabbalah and the process model. And if you don't do it, it's not about ancient traditions. If to say it sincerely, I don't think it will work. It works with the Kabbalah because they both have something in the system that they take you from the regular way that you understand the process, that through it you identify yourself. So I think really the only thing that I can do is to invite you to our community, because in this community this is what we try to do, to explore it through this crossing.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that I can um, this is the only thing that I can say. Maybe there are more ways. I don't know, but I cannot say. I don't want to say our experience to describe it as that the secret is to make the crossing between ancient tradition and the process. I don't know. Maybe yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that I can only speak about our experience. It works. I can say it surprised me all the time, but it works. It gives something that I think if you read only the process, people will not understand. I don't know about other tradition. I know about this crossing, and this is one thing. And second, again, I want to say we need someone that will guide us, or we need really people who understand this this way of understanding to support each other. Because if not, it's not that we collapse. For example, I sit a lot with my books and I learn, but I know that then the crossing is between me and the ancient wisdom, and the only way that I can do is like to understand the ancient wisdom through myself. And it is not enough. I need that something will take me out for myself. And this many times, you need some even to speak with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Even to learn with someone else, like in the ancient time that people sat together and they learn together. Because we needed someone will take us beyond ourselves, the way that we understand.
Yeah, that's a question for me. I think that's a question. I'm ambivalent about that. It makes perfect sense and it sounds right. However, I have two concerns. One is I am so sensitive to that moment where something becomes crystallized as fact or rule, something slightly rigid creeps in, and then that is an obstacle. And sometimes it's more than an obstacle. Sometimes it opens the wrong way and everybody rushes in that direction. And I'm so sensitive to that even in groups, the dynamics in groups, the rituals that can evolve can either be helpful or not helpful. And it's just how those things so quickly develop. It's almost as though, and I'm not claiming this, but it's almost as though everything in us is designed to go anywhere else but here. And we have to be so careful. All the things that can help can so quickly become the obstacle.
I absolutely agree. Nothing to do. We you know, you have to, let's say, you have to find the right person, or maybe the right people that you really can go farther and not to collapse like you described. I totally agree. But the only thing that I want to say, there is opportunity. There is opportunity.
Mhm.
And I want to suggest something. I'm holding it from the moment that you describe your own solo focusing. Would it be for you interesting to come to the group as a guest to share your process with the group that we're teaching this? To come just to share the process that you are doing and where it takes you?
I will think about that.
because I think it will be very interesting for them to see how you share what this process, how does it takes you, and how you understand that you're in touch, not, as you said, not with the felt sense, but what the enlivened the felt sense of it. I think it will be very supportive, as I say, to people, because it's like
I can say two things that they are. I want to say that it reminds me about what we are teaching. The place of being can be the place of becoming. What I mean is, as Gendlin describes what it means, consciousness, that consciousness by itself, and he makes this distinction between aware of and consciousness as something that all the time continues to create everything freshly. And this state that you can allow it, that freshly it carry forward our life without even we cannot, it can be pre-mental or it can be even through concept. This is for me, is touching something that we have, I would say now in the focusing, even in the practical focusing, in the craftsman of focusing, we have to know how to arrive to this state. Okay, that it continues to carry forward the depth of life that we beyond our imagination, beyond everything that we can think about. This is one thing that for me is the touching of the holiness. Another thing that it's something that we are share with people. It's how through it, and this is something that came from the ancient Kabbalah scripture, how through it you continue to build another way of processing that you can call human. You can call what it means to be human. I say it in English, what it means to be Adam. What it means because you start through your experience, through this deep experience, you start to build another perception of your humanity, and you start to have a holy commitment to live through it. You create another understanding, and you start to build. You start to build this holy commitment, this ability to live through it.
What does it mean, Baruch, to build this ability to live through it?
Because it's another ability, how to say it, a moment. It connects to something that I said before to Greg. Every situation, I can react. I have immediately reaction in my life. This is one layer of that I can name as I. There is, if I will pause for a moment, I can relate to the situation in a wider way, maybe to use more the wisdom that I know about life, to use more even to widen my perspective through a knowledge that I already experience and learn, even train in my life. I can do this movement. I can switch between spontaneous reaction to every situation and to go to a wider, I can say, to the wider state through which I will react. But for me, this still I'm feeling in my life. I am in this. I change dimension, but I'm still in the dimension of the regular Baruch that I know. And I know that through the practices, through the ancient knowledge, about the Kabbalistic knowledge, the way that I learned it, the way that I practice it, really, I have, it's like I can open myself, I can act, I can become the process that is not only based on my perception or deep perception. It is a process that it is all the time freshly. It is all the time surprising you. It is all the time coming from the perception, from the perspective of, I don't want to say from the unknown, but I want to say from the really the depth of the core of life, the mystery of life, the wonder of life. That when I open myself to this place, I only thing that I can be is I can, it's not even the word humbleness. It's like the word, it connects to the first question that Greg, you asked me, what people are longing for, what I perceive that people are longing for is to sense that life opens itself not through this depth. And it can become part of what I understand, what I perceive as what I perceive as Baruch, that is the way that I am in the world. Because already, like, there is another, this is who we are. This is who we are. Yes, is the, as Gendlin says in a wonderful way, that he says, the edge of our awareness is the center of our personality. Beyond it, there is the universe. But when we sense ourselves from there, we sense ourselves more, that we are more I than before. Okay? This is the place beyond the edge of our awareness is the universe, the wisdom, the ... But when we process life from there, we become more real than as before. And this is something that we can construct this ability. We can construct. And this is for me something very important to the journey that we try to share with people or we are going through.
It's interesting to me. I resonate with everything you say until the very end where you say construct. And I realize when you say construct, I say deconstruct.
No, I absolutely. And so wonderful. I take your comment as a question. There is this construct as I. Absolutely. But then I will say it maybe I will say it in the Kabbalistic way. You can, in the Kabbalistic way, they describe it like you build again your hayat. You build again, like I can go to my thought, it is a place. I can go to my awareness, it is a place. I can go there because there is there. Mm-hmm. It is like, it's like, you can say it's like a dimension, it's like a field with a different kind of movements. Mm. This is to construct this field, and we have to construct fields. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes? And of course, if this field becomes like a jail, okay, you miss it. It becomes like how Jenny call it? מבנים כובלים.
Structure bound.
Structure bound.
Yeah. And maybe I want to add something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I want to start from a very childish description. In the beginning, I felt I don't want any structures at all. I'm focusing something so freshly every time comes, and then something so freshly every time comes, and I like moving like a river, and every time like a new flower of some new insight come, and everything changes, and then it goes away, and something so far from it, It's like a girl that walking in a field of flowers, enjoying so much one flower. Oh, but I don't want to stay near a flower. I want to go to something else. This is, I can say, like a very childish way, the idea that structures and concepts are bad. It's like it's like living with something that's all the time so exciting and freshly and but slowly, and this is what Gendlin does for me, and also what reading the esoteric Jewish literature. I just read today a sentence that Gendlin says, implying and occurring is a pair. There isn't just implying alone. There's always also an explicit. And the explicit can be just like things flying in the air, or it can be something which has wisdom into it, which can be each time renewed, but not falling apart and building again every time a different one. I'm feeling that I do not pass what I mean yet, but I'm trying to find ways to, because this is what, because so many focusers are into it. I'm not saying that that's what you said, but that's what it triggered in me. So many focusers say, we don't want structure, we don't want concepts. We just want some flowing, fresh appearances or something like that.
I respond to that. I want to go back first of all to what you said about implying and occurring, because it's always occurring into applying into occurring, and then occurring always has its next implying. That's how they come together, and that shows that there's an order. It's not arbitrary. It has its own order, the implying, the occurring, the applying, the occurring. It has its own, it carries with it its own sense of order. What you were just saying, though, that is something that can happen in the focusing world, what you were just describing. And it is a little, there is almost, I'm really reluctant to say this, but there is almost a kind of immaturity to it in a way. That can also maybe be healthy for particular people to be able to make that demand that, I don't put anything on me. Um, but I would say my experience is constructs are so problematic that they need to be used experientially. And to use a construct experientially is very rare. A construct normally is used, and I'm certainly not saying you stand out as different from this, but often constructs are used as facts, as this is the structure we are building out of these concepts. We're constructing something that now stands to hold you and does so in a way that is rigid. There's always some sense of rigidity to it in my experience. That is my concern, but that's not the same as saying there isn't a discipline. There is a sense of discipline, and that goes right back to what you were calling the commitment, that holy commitment. It has in it a very strict kind of discipline that is the fulfillment of that commitment. It's different from a structure. It's different for me from any one tradition. Although I recognize the moments in any tradition that take me further in some way, or show me more, or challenge me, yeah, in a way that's enlivening. Not challenge me because I can feel that they're restricting, but challenging in that they're bringing alive something that I'm surprised by or uncomfortable with or enlivened by. But I think and it could be just me, I'm so careful. I don't, sometimes I think maybe, and I know that you won't agree with this, but maybe the only way of pursuing what matters to me in the kind of project that we're talking about, if you want to call it a project, the only way of pursuing it is individually. And seriously, I don't know, I really don't know. I've really hardly ever come across. It makes intuitive sense to me that it should not be done individually because it's almost impossible to do so. And yet it might be even more impossible to not do it that way.
Wonderful. And I just want to reflect that you say that before that, like there's two poles. One pole says that says in a way immature that it wants to leave the concepts. It doesn't want any construct. It doesn't want, usually it comes that they don't want the everyday life. They want to go away. They want to go beyond. They want to go. It's like one pole. It goes together. The other pole is the structure are too rigid. The concept are too directing.
Yes. If I could interrupt for a second, I would add that I think the attraction to both poles is an immature attraction.
Both poles, yes.
Though
Both poles.
destroying
And then
or holding tightly on to whatever's offered.
exactly, both of them. Maybe focusers are more to the first pole, but because it's what draws them, but the other or.
Yeah.
And I just want to suggest that what you're starting to explicate, but it needs more time, maybe not now because maybe we need to finish, but something that is not either or. Something that is, you started to suggest the discipline. Okay, so it's one way, but I think that this is very important. This juncture is very important. I think it's like there's a secret here. I want to say that is very, very deep and very subtle and not easy to touch and to understand. And we need more time to elaborate it and to sense each one of us. Why do I feel that Gendlin works, and also the crossing with Kabbalah and etc. Helps to go beyond the two poles in a way, and we're not. So it's a live question, but at least we want to see that we are not drawing unthinkably to one of the poles.
Yes.
Which is tempting, as you said, very tempting. Usually people are pushing one pole, they're going to the other.
I know both poles very well.
All of us.
All of us, yes.
And so
Yeah.
I think I feel that it's time to finish, but maybe we'll take just one moment. First of all, to cherish the discussion. I mean, I feel that something speaks which is not just us. I don't know how to say. And maybe each one of us want to say, I don't know, something that was meaningful for us in the discussion, or something that we want now to explore, or maybe not, but somehow, how would you like to finish our discussion now?
I think the last thing I would like to say is just I am increasingly curious about the conditions that make it more likely that a person can pursue and live from this kind of aliveness that we're describing in different ways. I think it requires particular conditions in some way.
Maybe I'll continue, because for me, this is also very important. And what does it mean to live from it? And maybe live from it also needs a new model. That we don't really understand what does it mean to live from it, and we can feel it and sometimes collapse to the, I don't want to speak about the negative side. What does it mean to live from it? How it will be different from our regular thinking about what does it mean to live from it.
I will add only one thing, that I feel gratitude that we have this opportunity to speak about these things. And I feel it, I can say, from the prayer zone in me, and I want to come back to your first question, that it is not only it's not only I feel it's not only subjective uh, conversation that we speak about, but that it touches something that so many people, they dedicate. I speak about the people who dedicate so many years in their life to continue to go farther, to carry forward something so deep. And what we are speaking about, what we talk, it touches this place that these people, they feel that they need this experience or this knowledge. And for me, I feel it like this is the pressure that I feel in our conversation. And I want to thank you about it, uh, about this opportunity and about this ongoing conversation that we have, that we can speak about. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad we could do this.
Yeah.
Okay. Until next time.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye.
Take care of yourselves.
Bye bye.